welcome to the Burgess-Shadbush Nature Center, and this is the second Nature Tales in February. Today we're going to be reading this book, which is called Animals in Winter, and it is by Henrietta Bancroft and Richard G. Van Gelder. The illustrations are by Helen K. Davey. Animals in Winter. The days grow short, the nights grow long. It's getting colder, winter is coming. Leaves have fallen from the tree, there are no berries on the bush, the insects are gone. The grass is dead and brown. Birds and other animals are getting ready for winter. Some of the birds will fly south. Bluebirds and orioles are going south. They go where it's warm and sunny, where there's food for them to eat. When spring comes, the birds will make the long journey back north. They migrate. Some butterflies migrate too. That's what the monarch butterflies do. They gather in a tree by the hundreds before cold weather comes. They stay in the tree all night. In the morning, they fly toward their winter homes in the south. Many bats fly south too, but some bats stay in the north all winter. When the weather gets cold, they go into a cave where there is no wind or snow. The bats will sleep there all winter. They do not eat. They live on fat stored inside of them. They do not move. They hardly breathe. They sleep, sleep, sleep. They hibernate. Woodchucks hibernate too. When fall comes, a woodchuck eats and eats and eats. He eats grass, twigs, leaves, and he grows very fat. When it gets cold, the woodchuck crawls into his long tunnel and goes to sleep. So he goes in through a secret entrance and he goes to a sleeping chamber. He also has a separate chamber, which is where he goes to the restroom or to the bathroom. The tunnel drops down to keep any enemies out. And then the main entrance is here, and they'll mound up stuff to keep that covered. Some animals do not have to hibernate. They gather food and save it for the winter. That's what a pika does. A pika looks like a rabbit, but with round ears. Pikas live in high mountains where winters are long and cold. They eat grass. In the summer, they cut more grass than they can eat. They spread the grass on flat stones. The hot sun dries it. By the end of summer, a pika may have gathered 50 pounds of grass. She hides it under rocks. In winter, she eats the dried grass and it keeps her alive. Squirrels gather food too and save it for winter. They dig in the ground and bury hickory nuts and acorns. When winter comes, they dig them up and eat them. Sometimes squirrels forget where they buried them. Trees may grow from the nuts that the squirrels forget. Some animals do not get ready for winter at all. They do not store food. They do not hibernate, and they do not migrate. They must hunt for food all winter long. There are mice that must hunt all winter for seeds of goldenrod, aster, and other wild plants. Sometimes they eat farmers' corn, oats, and wheat. Deer must dig in the snow for dried leaves and plants and moss. When the snow is deep, they must eat the twigs and buds and barks of trees. The rabbit must hunt under the snow for bits of grass and plants. When the snow is deep, he too must eat the buds and barks of bushes so he can stay alive. In the winter, the fox hunts for mice and rabbits. This fox has discovered a mouse under the snow. So he's jumping on it. When the winter cold and snow is deep, many animals cannot find food. Here are some ways you can help animals in the winter. So you can make a peanut and popcorn garland and hang those up. You can nail a sunflower head to a post or fence. Make an apple and cranberry, raisin and orange garland and hang those up along railings as well, because birds and other animals will eat those. Nail a seed tray with drainage holes to a fence post and put bird seed in it. Some of the oranges that you get in the grocery store, they'll come in orange netting, a little bit of netting. You can also fill bird seed in those and hang those up. Stick fruit and cheese and pieces on dead branches. You can make bird feeders and place them around. Plant shrubs with berries and food and shelter for them as well. And you can hang an ear of corn up for squirrels and chipmunks. Please remember, once you begin feeding birds and other animals in winter, you must continue. They are depending on that food supply. They get used to it and they depend on it. Eventually, the days will grow longer and the nights grow shorter, and it begins to get warmer. Spring is coming. All right, now it's time for us to do our animals in winter craft, and we're actually going to do a bird feeder for birds, and I'm going to give you a couple different ideas, okay? You can do the animal bird feeder with the pine cones and peanut butter. So you're going to take a pine cone, kind of like this, and then just tie a string to it. You can do yarn, but don't tie it super close to the top, because you want to have something you can hold on to, first of all, and keep your hands from getting covered in peanut butter or whatever else you're going to put on there. And it also is going to give it a little more strength to hang. If you put it too close to the end, if for some chance a squirrel jumps on it and pulls it, it might break the pine cone. So just to keep it safer that way, do it a little, not right at the very top, but a couple, maybe a quarter of an inch down. Okay. Now, peanut allergies. If you have a peanut allergy, obviously you're not going to do it with peanut butter. But when you do it with peanut butter, all you're going to do is just take the peanut butter and you're going to spread it on the sides of your pine cone. And then once you've done that, you're going to take the pine cone and you're going to roll it in bird seed. And once it gets a little coating on it, you can actually press it in so you get lots of bird seed on there. So it'll last a little bit longer. And then when you're done, it'll look like that. Okay. Now, if you are allergic to peanut butter, another thing that you can do, and I'm going to use honey, and this is pure honey, and it is from our beehives here at the Nature Center. So this is honey from our beehives here. And you know, when you're using peanut butter or honey, this stuff is good for the birds. They need those extra calories in the winter. And you're just going to take it and spread it on the pine cone, just like I did with the peanut butter. And those extra calories are just things that the birds really need. Those things, they need fats and the sugars to help them make it through the winter months. They burn a lot of calories trying to stay warm and just to survive. So you're going to get it on the pine cone, just nice and thick. This isn't the really liquidy honey that you see in the stores in those honey bears. This is really delicious honey, by the way. And again, once you've got it in there, you're just going to spread your seed out and get that pine cone and get it all covered. And it looks the same, and it serves the same purpose, and the birds will eat it either way, whether you've got honey on it or whether you've got the peanut butter on it. Now maybe you want to do something a little bit different. Another great bird feeder that you can do is to make suet cakes, okay? What I use, you can use two different things. If you cook with bacon, save the bacon grease, okay? Bacon grease, that fat from the bacon is healthy and good for them. And what you can do, because it solidifies really nice in the cold, is you're gonna take that bacon grease when it's somewhat liquidy, you're gonna put it inside like a square container, okay? You're gonna melt it to where it's not super hot, but just enough so that it's semi-liquid. And then you're just gonna take your bird seed and mix it in with it until it's about 75% bird seed and 1/4% of the fat. And then just take it and you can put it in your refrigerator and let it get hard. And when it's done, all you have to do is push on the plastic and it'll pop right out of the container. If you don't want to use this and you want to use something else, another thing you can use is take if you use the paper egg cartons that they have in the store, the cardboard, you can do that as well. So you mix it in a plastic container, and while it's still semi-soft, you're gonna push it into the egg carton, okay, and fill each of those little egg containers, and then you can just set it outside and they can eat from it as well. So those are two different ways. I also will use this, and you probably wonder what this is. This is rendered fat. So when I go to the store or I go to the butcher sometimes, I'll ask them when I'm buying a big piece of meat if they will trim the fat off and give it back to me. Then I take that fat home, I grind it up, and I render it down to a liquid, okay? And I get rid of all the impurities, and then I save it because I can make soap with this and I can make suet cakes with it. So you can do that with any animal fats, okay, that will solidify. So those are all ideas for making bird feeders. You can also string popcorn and peanuts on strings and hang them out. You can take slices of oranges and hang those out as well, and just make a garland and hang them on the trees. The animals will love them. But remember, once you start feeding them, you have to keep feeding them until the spring when they have more food that's plentiful. And I hope you have fun with this and have a wonderful day.